Good afternoon. It's a couple minutes till 4:30, but Karen Stepper's a slave driver around here, so we're going to get started and get going so we can get everybody out here on time. On behalf of the members of the Exchange Club of San Ramon Valley, I welcome you to the Exchange Club's annual 9/11 ceremony. My name is Tim White. I'm the president of the club. And it's such a beautiful day here at the All Wars Memorial. It's a little hot, but it's a beautiful day in a valley that we love and surrounded by our community, our military and veterans, police and fire service men and women, scouts, civic leaders, elected officials, and other distinguished guests. And I thank you all for being here today. Ladies and gentlemen, at this time, please rise for the presentation of the colors by our Joint Honor Guard from the Contra Costa County Office of the Sheriff and the San Ramon Valley Fire Protection District. That will be followed by our national anthem, performed by the Monte Vista Choir, directed by Rosalind Neisinger. Please remain standing for our invocation that will be given by Hugh Keith, Deputy Chief Chaplain and Vice Chairman of the U.S. Conference of Chaplains.
Please join me in prayer. Heavenly Father, as today we commemorate the 20th anniversary of the terrible events of 9/11 2 decades ago, we thank you for the privilege of being able to do so from such a beautiful, dedicated space for solitude, remembrance, and healing. We come today with the same eagerness and mindfulness of purpose used to create this space, to pause, to reflect, to remember the events of 9/11, and honor the memories of all the lives lost that day. The 20 years have passed and many things have changed, others have not. For some, this will be the most challenging day of their entire year. For our children and young adults, it presents an opportunity to learn and reflect upon one of the most difficult times in our nation's history. Yet, for all of us, this remembrance is right, proper, and necessary. It is indeed right, proper, and necessary for the continued healing of our nation, difficult and painful as that may be. And so here we are, fortunate to be gathered together again as a community to do just that. We thank you for this time together and ask that you continue to bless, guide, strengthen, and heal our nation. Watch over all who even now guard the gates of freedom and those who serve faithfully and selflessly in our community every day, helping to preserve our safety and well-being. We pray and ask all these things in your holy name. Amen.
Amen.
Please be seated. You know, 20 years ago today, this country was rocked to its core. Our perception of safety vanished. We were angry. But we showed the world how unified we were, and we stood tall. And we were inspired by heroism and selflessness. That selflessness that we saw in that moment and in the days, weeks, and months after. As you might have noticed, there are thousands of ceremonies today across our country to mark the 20-year point. The Exchange Club of San Ramon Valley is proud to have hosted this event for 16 of the last 20 years. It's important for our community to commemorate the tragedy and grief of 9/11, 2001. And it allows us to give a brief pause in our lives to salute courage, the type of courage that was displayed on that day and the days since by our first responders, military, and law enforcement. The Exchange Club is a century-old national service organization whose core values are a strong country, strong community, and strong family. And this club is one of 600 chapters across the country. In addition to this annual ceremony, our major activities in the San Ramon Valley include the establishment and maintenance of 14 Freedom Shrines in various schools and public places around the valley. We have essay and scholarship competitions for our young leaders, and events to spur the awareness of child safety and the prevention of child abuse. We also host a monthly luncheon that includes informative speakers from around the East Bay and beyond. And it's through these activities that the Exchange Club strives to benefit our youth, promote pride in our country, and educate our members so that we may be better served in the community. If you'd like to learn more about our club, or membership, or interested in coming to a lunch, please let us know. Visit our Facebook page for more information. And each year at this time, our club hosts the 9/11 essay competition. And we invite all students, grades 1 through 12, in the San Ramon Valley to participate. Flyers are available here and on our Facebook page. Cash was going to be awarded to winners in 3 categories: elementary school, middle school, and high school. And the topic this year: how did the terrorist attacks of 9/11 impact your life and your family. Thank you to the Exchange Club for its generosity, and thanks to Greg Marvel, an Exchange Club member and former board member of the Center Ramon Valley Unified School District, for his leadership of this competition and his matching donations. And finally, I'd like to thank the co-chairs of this event, Skip George and Karen Stepper, for their leadership in putting this together year after year. And so with that, and to MC the remainder of this program, it's my honor to introduce our club's past president and founding member and current Danville Town Council member, among many other things, coach and those sorts of things, Ms. Karen Stepper.
Thank you very much. And Skip, could you please stand up? Skip George, our co-chair, because he's done so much to make this ceremony special today. Skip will join us again at the end for the wreath-laying, as a matter of fact. We can't thank enough all the people that are here. And since you don't want to hear all the people that are here, we will try to be fairly brief because, as I said, we didn't order the sun over here. See all those empty chairs? So if you feel like giving a speech, take one of those or move it over to the shade somewhere because, you know, this is an earlier time than we usually meet. We're hoping everyone goes downtown Danville afterwards. We have our chamber president here. So this is a special day. And I know we watched one at our house last night on TV. The documentaries that are being made are absolutely stunning, things that we never knew before. We're also graced, I wanted to remind you that we have our speaker from last year here, Jay Camello, who was one of those who went to New York right afterwards for a month to help with clearing the fires. Jay, could you stand, please? A firefighter. So first I would like to say that, as you heard from Tim, that what the Exchange Club does is especially try to get students to be part of our events. And so I'd like to have all those students that I say the name just stand and wave. And if you're already standing, just wave so people see that there are a lot of students who were not alive on 9/11 that are learning from you today, because they're learning firsthand by the fact that you took time out of your schedule on a Saturday to come here and celebrate the passion and the courage and all of the other stories that are coming out about 9/11 and that attack. So those that are students that are here today, first of all, recognize, and please hold your applause on everything I do. When I clap, you get to clap. Okay? The first ones I want to recognize are the Scouts that make such a difference to our ceremony. These are our Exchange Club flags, and they couldn't be flown if we didn't have all these wonderful Scouts here. And I hope I tell the Scouts that if they get too hot in the sun, we have had a few faints in the past, that you can sit down and have someone else hold your flag for a few minutes. Secondly, the Monte Vista High School chamber singers, which were just amazing, and they always are. The third is we have a lot of leadership students here from National Charity League who are volunteers throughout our community, and they need to stand and raise their hands. I want to see all the students standing when this is over. And then we have other volunteers that are here today, but students hold a special place in our hearts because you are the ones who teach them the history of America. So big hand for the students. Secondly, a quick thank you for our sponsors that help us with the financial end of this, as well as just the support. And so they'll wave their hands or they'll be shy also. So, but we of course depend a great deal on the Fire Protection District for all the reason that so many of you have chairs and other things here tonight, and they're represented by Chief Paige Meyer and Jim Slovover. I didn't say it right. And you're holding your hands, right? You're still holding hands with yourself. That's what I tell the kids. So you go in a special store, hold them like this, and I'll tell you when you get to do this. And our Chief Alan Shields, the town of Danville, worked with Jason Ignatius to put together the honor guard and the things that are so special about Danville. The town of Danville is represented by our town manager, Joe Calabrigo, and he's back here. long-term sponsors. Uri Eliyahu, NGO, he's standing in the back, and he has provided the ice cream for this for at least 10 years. The PG&E, who's provided an amazing amount of scholarship money for the students to compete. Dennis Steiner, who is with Graham Hitch Cremation and Memorial Center, and you'll see the beautiful flowers that he provides and the wreath each year on his own. The Safeway Alamo always comes through, so you'll see something afterwards for those of you that couldn't make it for a 1-hour ceremony. And David Miller is here with the car show team. I hope you noticed that our banner was up again this year. And finally, we have the new sponsors this year, and those are the VSOs. That's the Veteran Service Organizations that form the core of our Veterans Hall. And I'll give those people by name, and they'll be in the wreath laying at the end, the commanders of those 4 groups. So please thank you for our sponsors. Okay, another special link we make here is that on December 7th in 1941, we lost 3,000 souls, and they are on the USS Arizona. And that's a very close number to the number we lost on 9/11 on that day. And so we actually had a program that had that tie in, and Chuck Kohler is here. He's one of our Pearl Harbor survivors, and the other Pearl Harbor survivor is going to speak today is Mickey Ganitch. So, Chuck, can you stand for a second? Okay, well, Chuck was a pretty amazing speaker because he was at Ford Island on December 7th, okay? And Mickey, will hear from you at the end. Mickey is having trouble keeping his birthday in mind because the airline can't write 101, they can only write 01. But you know, when it's almost his 102nd birthday and he's out across America speaking, don't you wish you could be that? So, pretty amazing. You know why the Pearl Harbor people get here? I've been a member of that, honorary member of that group for 15 years. They get here because their families get them here and make sure that everything is great. And so we have his wife Barbara and his daughter Bonnie, and who works in our school district, by the way. And we have the people who head the group for the sons and daughters. And the sons and daughters are Kathleen Farley and her sister Eileen, who's in the hospital at this moment. And there's a series of them over there, and they are the ones that carry on the message for Pearl Harbor. So big welcome to the fact that those people have them, well, you know, lest we forget, is what's on all of their writings. And what will be here today, we never forget. Yep. So however you say it, it's the same. So talk about that later. On this particular 20th anniversary, we're calling it a Remembrance Ceremony. It's not exactly something you celebrate, even though that's what's out there. We want to remember those people for a long time, and we don't want you to tell me next year you don't need a ceremony because we are evacuating right now. I want to hear that we will never forget the people that gave us 20 years now, 20 years we've been safe from having to worry about terrorist attacks on American soil. And that's thanks to these people that we're going to hear from now, our police, our fire, and our military. So the first one I'm going to ask to come forward is, and while he's coming forward, Chief Paige Meyer of the San Ramon Valley Fire Protection District. Can I get everybody in the audience who has been a firefighter or is a firefighter to please stand? Over there in honor of the 343 firefighters from that day. Chief Meyer, thank you for joining us.
Let me start with something. I missed you guys. I really did. Did you miss me? Or not so much? We can be a little light, just a little bit. But I want to say that, last year we'd done this, I think, 8 years in a row, and last year we didn't get a chance to do it. And that was very difficult because of what we went through. And we're still going through. So it is great to see everybody's face here. I missed you. I know our organization loves this group. We love the Gold Star families. I don't know if there are any here today. And we're absolutely honored and humbled by the Exchange Club. They do a great job of putting together a first-class event that really captures the meaning of what we're trying to do. Not forget, but like Karen said, remember. The other thing I'd like to do is I'd like to recognize my colleagues, all the firefighters that came here today. I'm honored to represent them as their chief. They're in the back there, as well as our police officers, our active military, and our veterans. And we're fortunate to have veterans on our department and even on our board of directors. So we're really proud of that. I would say this, driving in today, I hope it wasn't just because of another event, but it was so good to see it hard to, have a hard time parking. I just loved seeing all these people. I'm just so proud of this community, and it really is why I'm honored to be a chief in communities like this that really care about your safety, really honor the memory of 9/11, and then honor our firefighters and police officers. So thank you. I have a simple message today. I thought about getting political, but no, not going to do that. But I do have a simple message. In a time that we're so polarized, I think everybody can feel that a little bit, maybe. And there's a saying that some of you may have heard. It's something that I often say to folks. Gratitude has a short memory. Have you ever heard that? And one of the things that makes me so proud about this country is we truly are grateful when it comes down to it. And I am grateful to be an American, and I'm grateful to serve this community. And I'd just like to say, in that spirit, I hope that we remember those who work tirelessly to keep us safe on a daily basis, not just our police officers and our firefighters, but our military folks. Remember them. Remember those that gave their lives that day and before and since, and be grateful for them. Be grateful to those family members that I can't even identify with, whose family members went off to keep us safe, and they lost their lives. Those families have given probably the most incredible gift to all of us, and they didn't want to. But I remember those families. That's what keeps me thinking about this event and being grateful, because I can't imagine what they've gone through. And finally, and I don't see them, but I always say this to them, and I know a couple or other events in the country, our Gold Star families in that same tenor. The reality of it is they've given the ultimate sacrifice. I just want them to know, on behalf of our district, we'll never forget them. We'll never forget their children that went off, their sons and daughters. We're grateful for them, and God bless them. God bless you, and God bless America.
It's amazing to hear that kind of gratitude from a department that has been sending fire teams all over California again to fight fires day after day after day that they can't get under control at their own safety and risk. So thank you, Chief, for all the firefighting that has been gone this last week. Our next people to recognize are our police officers, and we have Chief Alan Shields and any other people as he's coming forward. If you are serving in a police, and in particular next to him is Chris Sherry, who's in our community from our California Highway Patrol. But anybody out there who's from the police, let's give you a hand, okay? Thank you for keeping us safe every day, and especially for remembering the 71 police officers who lost their lives on 9/11.
Well, thank you, Karen. So I'm Alan Shields. I'm the Chief of Police for the town of Danville, and I'm grateful to be up here to represent law enforcement. I'm grateful that Karen Stepper and Tim White and the Exchange Club continue to put this on every year, and Skip. If you don't know Skip George, Skip calls about 10 times to every participant to make sure, hey, I just want to make sure you're going to be there. So these events don't happen without the support of people like Skip George. So a couple of the words that, I think Chief Meyer had woven through his speech, and I'm sure you're going to hear it in The coming ones are gratitude and resilience. So what I'd like to do is actually share kind of how I remembered 9/11 this morning and reflected back on 20 years ago. So I typically go through, and I know everybody's got their own way that they do this, but I go through and I'll watch some videos and I'll talk with my kids and I'll share my experience with them. And I remember, at that point, I had already spent 4 years in the Air Force aboard AWACS. I had just began my profession as being a police officer. And of course, you're in your 20s, so you think you know it all. And as our town manager would say, you just don't know what you don't know. I thought I knew what it was like to be an American. I thought I knew what it was like to be resilient. I thought I knew, without a doubt, what it was like to be strong. And then 9/11 hit, and I can remember watching those images and seeing those firemen, those police officers, the office workers, everyone rushing and helping. And what it reminded me of is, as Americans, we are not fragile. We're not fragile people. That's not who we are. It's not in our DNA. When crisis comes, when a challenge comes, we are resilient and strong. And that's what we carry with us. And we've got, our Boy Scouts and our Girl Scouts who weren't alive when this took place. They weren't even alive. And so it's incumbent on us, and this is why I'm so grateful for the Exchange Club and everybody that puts this on, because it's incumbent on us to make sure that they remember and they hear it from us. And when we can have a Pearl Harbor survivor here tell us what it was like, I don't know that you get a greater experience carrying forward and continuing to be strong. So when this last 18 months hit, we could look to a lot of our leaders, and Chief Meyer's been here before. It's a different stress, it's a different environment, but he's had to show character and strength, just like all of us have. And so when we hit these times, we really do rely on that history. And what I can say in reflecting back in law enforcement and working with our fire partners is, over the 20 years since this has happened, there have been huge advancements in public safety, in communication, and we are here and we are ready to keep everyone safe and react and respond should an event like that happen again. And we will show the strength, and we will be there for all of you. And we're grateful to serve a community like this. And when you know who you work for and what you're about, you'll always come out ahead. There's ups and downs in life, but you will always come out. So God bless all of you, and God bless America.
Thank you very much, Chief. I'd like next to thank all the veterans who are here today, people who are currently serving in the military, not veterans yet, but there may be some of those in the crowd as well. And we are grateful for the people that were here. And I would like to just announce quickly who those groups are, because you'll be amazed at how many veterans groups there are in the San Ramon Valley. Just amazing number that come to our veterans building that was reopened in 2012. So please stand so they can be impressed by how many veterans and military people there are here. So first of all, VFW Post 75, all the members that are here, and the Mark, we're going to hold our applause because you can't believe the length of this list. And Mark Heineman, who's commander of American Legion Post 246, the commandant of the Marine Corps League. We have Dennis Giacovelli, the president of the Vietnam Veterans of Diablo Valley. We have Gary Ford from the Military Order of World Wars, Patty Burnett, Military Officers Association of America. Lori Sammons has now brought in the Bay Area Navy Nurse Corps to that building. Jerry Hero is back there for East Bay Stand Down. Ron Lowe, the director of the Veterans Memorial Building Directors. The Blue Star moms that are here, and they have a table set up, so if you have a chance to send a postcard to someone who is serving currently, they will be very appreciative. You don't have to be a child. You can be an adult. You can fill out our posters over there. Everyone is grateful to be thankful. The Gold Star families, the Sentinels of Freedom. We're proud to have Jake Brown here. He's one of the original Sentinels of Freedom from our area. Where are you, Jake? Well, make sure he's standing, because he's one of my heroes. The Contra Costa Veterans Services, the Concord Veterans Center, the Warriors Watch, I know they helped us set up today, the Combat Veterans Motorcycle Association, the All Wars Memorial Board, because we are at the All Wars Memorial. So that's a lot of organizations, and there are more that represent the veterans in this community. So a big hand to all of those people that make our lives safe. Sorry if I forgot the 100 Club. They're usually here somewhere in the audience, and they support our police officers who are fallen too. So we will move next to our elected officials who have very short time periods. I said, well, we cut you back from 35 minutes to 2, but it's okay. So, because they're here to represent those that couldn't be here. You've given a lot of your Saturday. They do that every week. And they go to places and represent you, and this is a big part of it. So we'll ask them to speak briefly. I'll ask them to all come forward. Danville, Renee Morgan, Mayor. San Ramon, Dave Hudson, Mayor. Candace Anderson, Contra Costa County Supervisor. Sam. There you are.
How do you tell a politician to keep it short, right? I don't know how that works. You can tell them, that's right. 5:46 in the morning on September 11th, 2001. The sun had yet to rise in Danville, in New York. The time, 8:46. My phone began to ring. Turn on the news. America is under attack. I thought, America, land of the free, home of the brave, under attack. The pictures of airplanes flying into buildings, fires burning, huge structures collapsing, people fleeing for their lives. So many emotions filled my mind. Disbelief, shock, deep sadness, and absolute anger. On that day 20 years ago, our nation saw evil, the worst of human nature. But we responded with the very best of America. Heroes emerged from the rubble. Rescue workers ran toward the chaos instead of away. And strangers and neighbors came together to help in any way that they could. Our entire country united. These acts of terrorism were meant to frighten our nation into chaos and retreat, but they failed. Our country remained strong. This day made us realize that all Americans from every walk of life could unite, that justice and peace are not just words, but true meaning of what America is all about. It is said that tomorrow is never promised. And as for those 3,000 people who lost their lives that day, and the countless men and women who have since lost their lives in here and abroad to defend the freedom, tomorrow will never come. This attack on American soil was so horrific, we would never want to relive 9/11, but we must remember this day. And let us not forget how we felt the day after the attacks. Human kindness spread across this great nation of ours. American flags flew off the shelves and onto our front doorsteps. We stood tall with the reminder that freedom is not free. How blessed we are to live in this beautiful community known as Danville, and proud to call this majestic country our home. This is the America that we know. Proud to be Americans. This is what we should not forget. God bless America. Thank you all for being here.
Now, what are the odds that you'd have a mayor of San Ramon here 20 years after I was mayor during 9/11? Things were a little different back then. I remember the night before the attack, I was out campaigning. Yeah, we used to have elections on odd years. Actually, that's not so different than what we're doing next week. I got my first call just about the time of the attack. A friend of my wife saying she isn't flying back from the East Coast, is he? No, she's got the early morning flight to Honolulu. Well, that didn't happen. Then I got the next call that every mayor dreads. Dave, we've got a resident on Flight 93, and it's been hijacked. And we all know how that ended up, but the rest of the day, it was call after call after call. Are you going to cancel the council meeting tonight? Should we cancel the council meeting tonight? Cancel the council meeting tonight. And each time I said, no, we're going to wait. Then the mayor of New York showed leadership that led the nation. If you cancel, they win. And the meeting went on. And now we're going to have this meeting come on as I bring up Candace Anderson.
Last night I was skimming through social media on Instagram and came across my daughter-in-law's sister. And I watched her 10-year-old son as he stood in front of a map of the world and explained to his little sisters and my 4-year-old granddaughter, pointing to the Middle East, explaining the origins of 9/11 and what had happened that day. 20 years later, we have not forgotten, and we are making sure that our children and our grandchildren have not forgotten either. I will never forget what I felt as a much younger mother of 6 as I ran on my treadmill that morning, turned on the news, and at first was puzzled to see a tower that a plane had crashed into, wondering how on earth would that have happened, and then in shock and horror as I saw live on TV another plane crash into the adjacent tower. Throughout that morning, I wondered about the future, what it held for my young children. How would I keep them safe, and how would the world change for them? I watched, like all of you, hundreds of heroes that day risking their lives to save others. One of the most poignant moments for me, though, was seeing the members of Congress stand on the steps of the Capitol and sing "God Bless America." I knew at that moment we were one country, united, indivisible, and that brought me great solace and peace that we would get through what lay ahead. Now, over these past 18 months, we've also similarly seen extreme challenges in this country and as this world, throughout this world, as we faced a pandemic. And I've also seen countless heroes put their lives at risk to save and help others. While there has been dissension over health orders and masking and vaccination, what I've mostly seen is the goodness of people caring for one another. And once again, I've had the opportunity to reflect and think that we truly are one country, united, indivisible, under God, and we can get through hard things that may lay ahead. Thank you for being here.
I'm grateful for working with people with such high ethics as we have in this valley, and it's always a joy to be with those people and to thank the other officials who are here today. So if you're here, please stand and wave so people can find you afterwards. I can't tell who's here because of the sun coming in and everybody switching. It was like musical chairs. But if we have anyone from Senator DeSaulnier's office, State Senator Glazer, Assemblywoman Rebecca Bauer-Cahan. We've heard from a lot of these people that somebody's out here and they're just being shy. You know, politicians are shy. Anyway, we have former Assemblywoman Baker, who was, by the way, the person with the commemorative, giving out the commemorative cookies made by my really good friends, the Oliveris, in the front row. They're pretty amazing. We also have our council members here and co-hosts, Newell Arnrich, Robert Storr, you can stand, David Fong, me, and of course our town manager, Joe Calabrigo. San Ramon Council, David Hudson is the mayor, and I don't know if you're able to join your other council members. Mark Armstrong, right? Mark was one of our our very first Exchange Club speaker was Mark Armstrong, and now here he is on the council. We also have the fire district directors led by Matt Stamey, and I don't know, good to see you, Matt. How about Don, is he here, Parker? Okay. Michelle Lee, I know, is here. And she's one of our newest members we're have a joy to work with. And from the education community, we're very pleased to see Rachel Hurd representing the education community along with Ken Mintz. Both are longtime wonderful school board members. And finally, I think I might have seen the DVC Community College Director, Andy Lee. Definitely the superintendent is where to? There. Oh, and Susan told me she didn't think she'd make it. Susan Ordway is the president of the board. Welcome, Susan. Thank you for joining us. And to all those people that I... All right, we are going to have we're going to have a song before we introduce our main speaker today. And that will be, of course, by the Monte Vista Singers, Rosalind Neisinger, director.
America, my